What separates a Sigma male from the crowd isn't luck, privilege, or circumstance. It's an unbreakable mental fortitude that transforms obstacles into stepping stones. While the majority crumbles under pressure, throws in the towel when things get tough, or seeks comfort in the safety of the herd, the Sigma male operates on a completely different frequency. He's the lone wolf who doesn't just survive adversity, he thrives in it. You've probably noticed it yourself. When everyone else is complaining, making excuses, or looking for someone to blame, there's always that one person who stays calm, adapts, and finds a way forward. That's the Sigma mindset in action. It's not about being antisocial or difficult. It's about having developed a psychological framework that most people never even realize exists. The statistics are staggering. Research shows that 95% of people give up on their goals within the first year. They start with enthusiasm, hit the first real obstacle, and suddenly find 100 reasons why it wasn't meant to be. But Sigma males, they're in that rare 5% who understand that the obstacle isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. This isn't motivational fluff or feel-good psychology. This is about understanding the specific mental strategies, behavioral patterns, and survival mechanisms that allow Sigma males to persist where others falter. Over the next several chapters, we're going to dissect exactly how this mindset works, why it's so effective, and most importantly, how you can develop these same characteristics. The journey we're about to take together will challenge everything. You think you know about success, resilience, and what it really takes to make it in a world that seems designed to break people down. We'll explore the science behind Sigma persistence, examine real-world examples of this mindset in action, and provide you with concrete strategies you can implement immediately. But here's what I need you to understand from the very beginning. This isn't for everyone. The Sigma path requires you to think differently, act differently, and often stand alone when everyone else is following the crowd. It demands that you take full responsibility for your outcomes and refuse to play the victim, even when circumstances genuinely are against you. If you're ready to discover what makes some men absolutely unbreakable while others crumble at the first sign of difficulty, then you're in the right place. And if this resonates with you, if you recognize that there's something different about how you approach challenges compared to most people around you, then I strongly encourage you to subscribe to this channel. We're building a community of men who refuse to accept mediocrity and are committed to developing the mindset that separates the exceptional from the ordinary. Strategic solitude. The first pillar that separates Sigma males from the masses is their relationship with solitude. While most men fear being alone, desperately seeking constant social validation, entertainment, or distraction, the Sigma male has weaponized solitude into his greatest strategic advantage. This isn't about being antisocial or avoiding people out of insecurity. This is about understanding that your most powerful thoughts, decisions, and breakthrough moments happen when you're free from the noise and influence of others. Think about it. When was the last time you had a truly original idea while surrounded by a crowd? When did you make your best decision while being bombarded by other people's opinions and emotions? The answer is probably never, and there's a scientific reason for this. Research in cognitive psychology shows that our brains operate in two distinct modes: the focus network, which handles immediate tasks and social interactions, and the default mode network, which activates during rest and solitude and is responsible for creativity, self-reflection, and long-term planning. Most people never access their default mode network because they're addicted to stimulation. They fill every quiet moment with podcasts, social media, conversations, or entertainment. They've literally trained their brains to avoid the discomfort of being alone with their thoughts. But Sigma males understand that this discomfort is where growth happens. They've learned to sit with silence, to think deeply without external input, and to make decisions based on their own analysis rather than group consensus. Consider the example of successful entrepreneurs and innovators throughout history. Steve Jobs was famous for his long walks alone, during which he would solve complex problems and generate breakthrough ideas. Einstein did his most important theoretical work in solitude, often spending hours just thinking without any external input. These weren't coincidences, they were strategic choices to leverage the power of focused, uninterrupted thought. The Sigma male applies this same principle to every area of his life. When facing a major decision, he doesn't immediately call friends for advice or post about it on social media. He creates space for deep thinking. He might go for a long drive, take a hike, or simply sit in a quiet room and work through the variables himself. This doesn't mean he never seeks input from others, but he does his own thinking first, forming his own opinions before exposing himself to external influences. This strategic use of solitude also extends to emotional processing. While most people immediately share their problems, frustrations, or excitement with others, seeking either sympathy or validation, the Sigma male processes his emotions privately first. He understands that emotional decisions made in the heat of the moment, especially under social pressure, are usually poor decisions. By taking time alone to understand what he's really feeling and why, he's able to respond rather than react. The practical application of strategic solitude involves creating regular periods of disconnection from all external inputs. This might mean starting each day with 30 minutes of silence before checking any devices. It could involve taking weekly solo activities, whether that's hiking, driving, or simply sitting in a coffee shop without any entertainment. The key is consistency and intentionality. You're not just killing time, you're creating space for your mind to operate at its highest level. The immunity to social pressure. The second defining characteristic of the Sigma male is his remarkable resistance to social pressure. While the majority of men constantly adjust their behavior, opinions, and decisions based on what others think or expect, the Sigma male has developed an internal compass that remains steady regardless of external social forces. This isn't stubbornness or contrarian behavior for its own sake. It's the result of having clear personal values and the confidence to act on them even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular. Social pressure operates through several psychological mechanisms that most people don't even recognize. There's conformity bias, where we change our behavior to match the group. There's social proof, where we look to others to determine what's correct or appropriate. There's the fear of rejection, which drives us to avoid standing out or disagreeing with the consensus. For most people, these forces are so powerful and automatic that they don't even realize they're being influenced. But Sigma males have developed what psychologists call internal locus of control. They understand that their outcomes are primarily determined by their own choices and actions, not by what others think or do. This fundamental belief creates a natural immunity to social pressure because they're not looking to the group for validation or direction. They've learned to validate themselves based on their own standards and results. Consider how most men handle career decisions. They often choose paths based on what their family expects, what their friends are doing, or what society considers prestigious or stable. They take jobs they don't want because it's what's expected, or they avoid pursuing their real interests because others might not understand or approve. The Sigma male approaches career decisions completely differently. He identifies what he actually wants to achieve, what aligns with his values and capabilities, and then pursues that path regardless of whether others understand or support it. This immunity to social pressure is particularly visible in consumer behavior. Most people buy things to signal status, to fit in, or because everyone else is buying them. They're constantly influenced by advertising, social media, and peer behavior. The Sigma male makes purchasing decisions based on actual utility and personal preference. He's not trying to impress anyone or keep up with trends. If something serves his purposes, he buys it. If it doesn't, he doesn't care how popular or socially expected it might be. The development of this immunity requires understanding the difference between influence and pressure. Sigma males are not closed-minded or resistant to all external input. They actively seek information, advice, and different perspectives, but they evaluate this input through their own filter of values and logic, rather than simply adopting it because of social expectations. They can listen to criticism without becoming defensive, consider suggestions without feeling obligated to implement them, and receive praise without becoming dependent on it. One of the most powerful aspects of this immunity is how it affects decision-making under pressure. When everyone around them is panicking, following trends, or making emotional decisions based on group dynamics, Sigma males remain calm and analytical. During market crashes, they might buy when everyone else is selling. When everyone is rushing into a particular opportunity, they might hold back and wait for better timing. This contrarian thinking often leads to superior outcomes precisely because they're not being swept along by crowd psychology. Emotional self-regulation mastery. The third pillar of Sigma male resilience is their exceptional ability to regulate their emotions, particularly under stress and adversity. While most people are controlled by their emotional reactions, becoming angry when frustrated, depressed when facing setbacks, or anxious when confronting uncertainty, Sigma males have developed the capacity to observe their emotions without being hijacked by them. This emotional mastery is perhaps the most crucial factor in their ability to persist where others give up. Emotional self-regulation isn't about suppressing feelings or pretending to be robotic. It's about developing emotional intelligence and the ability to choose your response rather than being driven by automatic reactions. Research in neuroscience shows that emotional reactions originate in the limbic system, particularly the amygdala, which processes threats and triggers fight or flight responses. Most people operate primarily from this reactive system, especially under stress. But Sigma males have strengthened their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for executive function, planning, and emotional regulation. The practical difference is enormous. When faced with criticism, rejection, or failure, most people immediately experience intense emotional reactions that cloud their judgment and limit their options. They might become defensive, angry, or dejected, which prevents them from seeing opportunities or solutions. The Sigma male feels these same emotions initially, but he's trained himself to pause, observe what he's feeling, and then choose how to respond based on logic and long-term strategy rather than immediate emotional impulses. This mastery shows up most clearly during crisis situations. While others are panicking, making hasty decisions, or becoming paralyzed by overwhelming emotions, the Sigma male maintains mental clarity. He can assess the situation objectively, identify available options, and take appropriate action. This isn't because he doesn't feel stress or fear, it's because he's learned to function effectively despite these feelings. Consider how most people handle rejection in professional or personal contexts. Getting turned down for a job, having a business proposal rejected, or experiencing relationship difficulties typically triggers intense emotional responses that can last for days or weeks. People ruminate, become self-critical, or lose confidence in their abilities. The Sigma male experiences the initial disappointment but quickly shifts into analytical mode. What can be learned from this experience? What needs to be adjusted in The approach, what other opportunities might be available. He extracts useful information from the situation and moves forward rather than getting stuck in emotional processing. The development of emotional regulation requires several specific practices. First is mindfulness, the ability to observe your thoughts and feelings without immediately identifying with them. This creates space between stimulus and response, allowing for conscious choice rather than automatic reaction. Second is reframing, the ability to interpret events in ways that serve your long-term goals rather than reinforcing negative emotional patterns. Third is stress inoculation, deliberately exposing yourself to manageable levels of discomfort to build emotional resilience. One of the most powerful techniques Sigma males use is what psychologists call cognitive distancing. Instead of thinking, I am angry or I am anxious, they learn to think, I notice that I'm experiencing anger, or I'm observing feelings of anxiety. This subtle shift in language creates psychological distance from the emotion and prevents it from overwhelming rational thinking. They can acknowledge what they're feeling without being controlled by it. Adaptive, problem-solving mindset. The fourth characteristic that enables Sigma males to survive where others give up is their approach to problems and obstacles. While most people view problems as threats to be avoided or evidence that they're on the wrong path, Sigma males have developed an adaptive problem-solving mindset that treats every challenge as a puzzle to be solved and an opportunity to develop new capabilities. This fundamental shift in perspective transforms obstacles from roadblocks into stepping stones. The difference begins with how problems are initially perceived. Most people experience problems through an emotional filter first. They feel frustrated, overwhelmed, or defeated before they even begin to analyze the situation logically. This emotional reaction often prevents clear thinking and creative solution finding. Sigma males have trained themselves to approach problems with curiosity rather than emotion. Their first response isn't, why is this happening to me? But rather, what is this situation teaching me? And what options do I have? This adaptive mindset is built on several key principles. First is the understanding that problems are inevitable and normal parts of any worthwhile pursuit. Instead of being surprised or derailed by obstacles, Sigma males expect them and plan for them. Second is the belief that every problem contains valuable information that can improve their approach or reveal new opportunities. Third is the confidence that with enough creativity, persistence, and resourcefulness, most problems can be solved or worked around. Research in psychology supports this approach. Studies show that people who view challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to their competence perform better under pressure and develop greater resilience over time. This is called a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Sigma males naturally operate from a growth mindset, seeing their abilities as expandable rather than fixed, and viewing setbacks as information rather than judgments on their worth or potential. The practical application of this mindset involves a systematic approach to problem solving. When confronted with an obstacle, the Sigma male first seeks to understand the problem completely before jumping to solutions. He gathers information, identifies the core issue versus surface symptoms, and considers multiple perspectives on what might be causing the situation. This thorough analysis often reveals solutions that aren't immediately obvious to people who react emotionally or try to solve problems quickly. Next comes creative option generation. Rather than limiting himself to conventional approaches or giving up if the obvious solution doesn't work, the Sigma male brainstorms multiple possible approaches. He considers indirect solutions, unconventional strategies, and combinations of approaches that others might not think of. This creativity often comes from his willingness to challenge assumptions about how things should be done. One of the most powerful aspects of this mindset is the ability to find opportunity within problems. While others see only the negative aspects of difficult situations, Sigma males look for hidden advantages. A job loss might create the opportunity to pursue a better career path. A business setback might reveal weaknesses that need to be addressed for long-term success. A relationship ending might free up energy for personal growth or better relationships. This doesn't mean Sigma males are unrealistically optimistic or ignore genuine problems. They're actually more realistic than most people because they face problems directly rather than avoiding or denying them. But they combine this realism with an unshakable confidence in their ability to adapt and find solutions. They understand that the quality of their life is determined not by the problems they face, but by how effectively they solve them. Internal validation systems. The fifth pillar that distinguishes Sigma males is their reliance on internal rather than external validation. While most men constantly seek approval and recognition from others, measuring their worth by social acceptance, Sigma males have developed robust internal systems for evaluating their progress and worth. This independence from external feedback is crucial to their persistence because it makes them immune to the fickleness of others' opinions. External validation is inherently unreliable. Other people's opinions are influenced by their own insecurities, limited perspectives, and changing moods. What others praise today, they might criticize tomorrow. When you depend on external validation, you're putting your emotional stability in the hands of people who may not understand your goals or share your values. Sigma males define their own standards for success based on their values, long-term goals, and personal growth rather than social expectations. This doesn't mean they're arrogant or dismissive of feedback. They filter external input through their own evaluation system rather than automatically accepting it as truth. The development of internal validation begins with clarity about your own values and priorities. Most people never consciously identify what really matters to them versus what they think should matter based on social conditioning. Sigma males invest time in self-reflection to understand their authentic motivations, strengths, and aspirations. This internal system operates through personal integrity, alignment between actions and values, progress tracking toward their own goals, and competence building for its own sake rather than for recognition. When Sigma males act according to their principles, even when difficult or unpopular, they experience validation regardless of external responses. One powerful aspect is how it affects goal pursuit. External validation leads to choosing goals that impress others rather than goals aligned with authentic interests. Sigma males choose objectives based on internal criteria, what will challenge growth, align with values, and create the life they actually want rather than what others expect. The practical development requires regular self-reflection, setting personal standards that reflect your own definition of excellence, celebrating victories privately before sharing them, and evaluating feedback objectively without automatically accepting praise or criticism as truth about your worth. Long-term thinking patterns. The sixth characteristic enabling Sigma males to survive where others give up is their orientation toward long-term thinking. While most people are trapped in short-term gratification cycles, seeking immediate pleasure, avoiding discomfort, and making decisions based on current emotions, Sigma males think and plan in extended time horizons. Short-term thinking is the enemy of persistence. When focused only on immediate results, every setback feels permanent, every obstacle seems insurmountable, and every period of discomfort becomes a reason to quit. This prevents people from seeing that worthwhile achievements require extended effort, delayed gratification, and temporary setbacks. Sigma males think in years and decades rather than days and weeks. They understand that building anything significant requires sustained effort over extended periods. This perspective allows them to endure short-term discomfort and delayed results because they see how these experiences fit into a larger pattern of growth. Research supports this approach. The Stanford marshmallow experiment showed that children who could delay gratification achieved better outcomes in health, wealth, relationships, and satisfaction years later. Long-term thinking creates better results across all life areas. Practical application involves goal setting that extends beyond current circumstances. While most people set goals based on current limitations, Sigma males envision where they want to be in 5 or 10 years and work backward to identify required steps. This reverse engineering maintains motivation through difficult periods. They practice investment thinking rather than expense thinking. Most view effort, time, and resources as costs to minimize. Sigma males view them as investments that compound. Over time, they'll spend more time learning properly rather than seeking shortcuts, invest in relationships that might not provide immediate benefits, and choose difficult paths that develop character. They focus on systems rather than events. Most people fixate on individual successes or failures. Sigma males focus on processes that create consistent results over time, understanding that one outcome doesn't predict future results. They build reliable systems for continuous improvement. This long-term orientation creates patience with growth and achievement. Sigma males understand that meaningful accomplishments take time and that periods of apparent stagnation are normal. This patience prevents them from giving up when results aren't immediately visible or progress seems slower than expected. The Sigma male's ability to survive where others give up isn't a mystical superpower or genetic lottery win. It's a learnable set of mental frameworks and behavioral patterns that anyone can develop with commitment and practice. Throughout this exploration, we've uncovered the 8 core pillars that create this unshakable resilience: strategic solitude, immunity to social pressure, emotional self-regulation, adaptive problem-solving, internal validation, long-term thinking, selective energy investment, and failure reframing. What makes these strategies so powerful isn't their complexity, it's their consistency. While most people oscillate between motivation and despair, between confidence and self-doubt, the Sigma male has built internal systems that operate regardless of external circumstances. He's created a psychological fortress that doesn't depend on favorable conditions or other people's approval to maintain its strength. The research is clear. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back from failure, it's about becoming stronger through adversity. Sigma males understand this intuitively. They've learned to view every setback as data, every rejection as redirection, and every obstacle as an opportunity to develop capabilities that their competitors will never possess. But perhaps the most crucial insight is this: the Sigma advantage isn't about being better than others. It's about being true to yourself when everyone else is trying to fit in. It's about having the courage to pursue your own path when society demands conformity. It's about maintaining your standards when everyone else is lowering theirs. The choice is yours. You can continue operating like the majority, reactive, dependent on external validation, giving up when things get difficult, or you can begin developing the mindset that allows a small percentage of men to achieve extraordinary results while others settle for ordinary lives. The tools are here. The strategies are proven. The only question remaining is whether you have the commitment to implement them consistently, even when, especially when, everyone around you thinks you're crazy for not giving up. If you're serious about developing this unbreakable Sigma mindset, about joining the ranks of men who refuse to accept defeat, then subscribe to this channel right now. We're not just sharing information here, We're building a movement of men who understand that survival isn't enough. We're here to thrive, to excel, and to prove that the impossible is just another challenge waiting to be conquered. Your journey to becoming unbreakable starts now.